Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Morick. I'm the managing partner of Ciresi Morek. Today is October 21st, and today is Headhunting Wednesday. So thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you guys coming out. We've got a lot of stuff to cover today, so I'm going to try and move through this as quickly and efficiently as possible. We're going to be talking about, of course, our new jobs and our placements. We're going to be talking about an article that was posted today or yesterday about manufacturing in the U.S. And that kind of brings up a point I wanted to make too. You know, we've in the past we've had a lot of blogs, a lot of great blogs that we pushed out there. We've kind of switched over to this live YouTube sessions that we're doing now, and but we've kind of gone back and we started posting some really cool articles. We're going to talk about one of them today on our company LinkedIn page. So if you haven't been checking that out or following us, I'd really encourage you to do that. Simple to do. You can go right on LinkedIn, check it out, and go from there. If you got any questions, please let us know. So we're going to be talking about manufacturing in the U.S. We're going to be going over survey results. Again, we did a survey, I think 76,000 plus people, some pretty cool information. We're going to talk about cover letters, read a recent article, and then referral program, go through the resume reviews that we've always done. We've got Mary and Brandon. Hopefully they're going to join us by the end. And then that should wrap things up for today. So that being the case, let's jump into this. So new jobs that we have out there. We actually, since our last YouTube production, which we're doing it every first and third Wednesday of the month, we had 8 new jobs. So I'm going to kind of just run through these real quick with you guys. And all this information is on our website. You can check it out and go to our active search page, find the new positions. They're usually featured, which would put them on the front page. And then if you're interested, you can reach out to whomever is the point of contact that's out there. So the first one, we have a general manager job that is managing about 500 full-time employees in a blow and injection molding environment. And that's up or down in Kentucky. We have a we have a tax manager position that they're looking for somebody that's got corporate and public tax experience. That one is here in Cleveland, Ohio. If you're interested in that, that would be Kenneth Pettis. The next one on the slate, we have a plant manager role in San Antonio, Texas. Great place to live. Actually used to live down in Texas years ago. That one, they're looking for an automotive tier 1 plant manager, somebody who's got experience dealing with the OEs. And that one would be, if you're interested in that one, that would be Robert Cerissi or Richard Carew. Then we have a client we've worked with in the past up in Chicago. They've come back to us and they're looking for additional help, and we always love that. But it's a very fast-paced environment. They are looking for an operations manager. So think broadcasting and sequencing experience. That's going to, and again, these next 3 are all in the Chicago, Illinois area. They're looking for a plant manager. That person has to have broadcasting experience. So difference between sequencing and broadcasting is really the time frame on it. So broadcasting is like 2 to 3 hours from time to get your product sequenced into the line. And then they're also going to need a technical manager. Interesting thing about this, they're looking for somebody who's got experience managing the maintenance, engineering, and IT side of things. IT being more of like controllers and automation engineering. And no degree is required on it. They'd like to have it, but if you don't have a degree, that's not going to be a showstopper. What's unique about that is most of the positions that we represent actually require some kind of a degree. So I thought that was interesting. The next one is an operations manager. So think a high potential number 2 person for a plant that has over 1,000 people. That role is down in, that one's in the Chicago, Illinois area as well. And then the last new one that we got over the last couple weeks, it is an automotive tier 1. A lot of automotive, I know, but it's a multi-site leader, somebody who can be down in the South Carolina area and manage multiple sites for a tier 1 supplier on the supply chain side. And that person, if Joe Montero would be the person to reach out to if you have any interest in that role. So again, some great activity, some great things going on in manufacturing. If you're interested in these jobs, please go out and check them out. Again, it's on the website at CerissiMorek.com under our searches, and then it would be our active searches page. So awesome on that one. Congratulations go out to, we only had one placement in the last week. We were really busy last session. If you remember, we had a whole bunch of people we announced. This week, we wanted to congratulate Erica Lockhart. She is a plant manager at Aunt Millie's Bakery. She just started here this week, so good luck, Erica. Best of luck, and we know you guys, you're going to do great. So congratulations. Now, the article that we talked about. So interesting thing, there's a couple of points that I wanted to bring up. It was a really interesting read, a lot of great information, talking about kind of where manufacturing for the last 20 years is coming from and the next 20 years and where it's going. These guys did a really nice job of writing the article, a bunch of independent bloggers. Again, it's out on our LinkedIn page. If you want to check it out, feel free to go there. And like I mentioned earlier, we are trying to post more content because it doesn't seem like there's a lot of manufacturing talk going on right now. I can tell you that since 2012, when we started Ciresi and Morick in this firm, our best quarter year to date was first quarter of this year, which when I tell people that, they're kind of shocked. Our second best quarter was this third quarter that we just finished. So manufacturing has a lot of exciting things going on right now, and it's been keeping us very busy. I don't feel as well prepared for this round, for this YouTube as I have in the past. So sorry if we bounce around a little bit. And I also have a date tonight with my wife, so I've got to be out of here by 5:30, like 2 at the latest. So, but manufacturing is awesome and feel very fortunate to be part of it and see what's going on. Something that Anna Maria, who kind of runs everything behind the scene for us, brought to our attention. We were looking at what LinkedIn was posting for manufacturing jobs back in May of this year, and we were right at 4,100,000, so 4.1 million. As of today, LinkedIn has almost 5 million. It's like 4.9 million out there. That's an increase of like almost 20% in 5 months of positions that are active. And I think that's something that you can't lose sight of with everything that's going on. I know that right now 2020 is the craziest year ever, right? But I think when you look at what COVID has done, there's been a repeated talk of regionalism on manufacturing. And listen, this isn't, I mean, I'm not going to say that I'm the authority on this, but you know, we've done some pretty cool research from the surveys that we've put out there. And what I just want to make sure everybody realizes is from our perspective, there's a lot of exciting things going on in manufacturing and a lot of things going on within the U.S. manufacturing and what's supporting it. So kind of lost my train of thought. Sorry. Oh, survey stuff, right? So we had the article, increase in jobs. The article talks about, you know, another point that was in there that I thought was interesting is if you compare 2019 and 1949, nerd out for a second, back coming out of World War II, we have the same amount of manufacturing jobs as we did then. Although the manufacturing jobs are, you know, manufacturing output is on the rise, which I think is something to not lose sight of as well. Jumping over to the survey, again, I think I mentioned, so we surveyed 76,000 folks at the beginning of this year, got some really great information from them. The thing that I always find is interesting is there are over 75% of who we surveyed, which is a lot of automotive people, a lot of aerospace people, they're employed, right? So you can't argue with what's out there. There is some unemployment. And if you look at how it breaks down between automotive and aerospace, I mean, automotive has taken a pretty big hit. But I think what you're seeing is there is still a lot of manufacturing output, a lot of folks involved with manufacturing, and we're, you know, pretty excited to be a part of it. The other thing that I wanted to talk about with survey results is regards to furloughs and reductions of pay. I think I'm going to skip here forward a little bit.
Okay.
But when you look at, I know everybody's taking furloughs and there's a lot of work from home stuff, but what we found out is out of the 76,000 people we surveyed, the highest percentage of furlough or the most common furlough time was only 2 weeks. If you look at this graph that's up there, 25% of those people, that's basically adding up everybody else that really didn't fall into one of the categories that you see. And so 2 weeks is really not that. I mean, I know for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, that can be a challenge, but overall, 2 weeks at an average for being furloughed, I don't think that, that's pretty positive, especially considering what a lot of folks in like the services industries and whatnot are going through. So, anyway, a lot more survey information we're going to be publishing for the rest of this year. We're going to be putting it up on our LinkedIn company page and sending it out in newsletters as well. So, survey stuff. If you've got any questions on that, please let me know. And if you guys have any questions at all right now, feel free to shoot them our way, and we'll try to answer them the best we can. I don't think there's anything right now. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, we've brought up cover letters a couple different times through blogs, through some of our videos. And I read an article today that I thought was really important to share. There's a recruiter out there, Ask the Headhunter, asktheheadhunter.com. And he had a question about cover letters. And I think you've heard us say multiple times, I hate cover letters and I don't read them. I don't know many people who do. I think they're just kind of going by the wayside. And instead of investing all this time, and what the article basically says is, instead of putting all this time into a cover letter, it's better use of time when you apply to a job to be able to reach out if you can find it. And we've talked about that in other series about being able to find people who are hiring managers or talk to somebody live once you apply to a position. But I think it was interesting that the point was to reach out to the hiring manager and try to sell yourself from a standpoint of saying, hey, listen, would you be interested in having a 5 to 10 minute conversation? You can share with me what you're looking to accomplish on this role. And then if I don't prove myself as being worthy of an interview, if I can't show that I could be a solution to the challenges you're having, then, no harm, no foul. It's a 10-minute interview or a 10-minute conversation versus, a 30-minute, 45-minute conversation. And the point being, and this is something we brought up all the time, when you get to an interview of figuring out, and this is part of our discovery calls and our process, and I think things that make us very successful, is people hate hiring. They hate the interview process. You hate making resumes. Everybody hates making resumes, right? But it's a necessary evil. And the evil is, or the reason that everybody does this, is to be able to figure out there's a problem. There is at least one problem that the hiring manager has. Your job as the interviewee, is to figure out what that challenge is. And if you can have a quick conversation with the hiring manager, figure out what those challenges are, and then position yourself as a solution to that, that's going to be more success around getting an interview and securing the role than I think a cover letter ever will be. Because if you think about it, a cover letter, you're trying to figure out, without having a conversation, what the problem is and what this hiring manager is trying to figure out or solve. What's the problem and what's the solution? And can you be part of the solution? So I thought it was an interesting take on it. I think it'd be a better investment in time to connect with a hiring manager, have a quick conversation. Can I be a solution to the problem you have? It's more efficient use of your time. And, the worst that comes out of it is you get closure on an opportunity instead of wondering, because a thing that we came out of the survey for us is how many people are just looking for some kind of closure on a position that they've applied to. So I thought it was pretty interesting advice. So thanks, Ask the Headhunter. The other thing we're talking about is, some of you may have seen it on our newsletter, but Cerissi and Morick has started a referral program. So if you go to our website, it's under referral. There's a lot of talent out there in the market. And I've had this question to me probably 100 times since we started this, is, isn't there enough talent out there? Yeah, there's a ton of talent on the market right now. I get that 100%. But for us, our mantra has consistently been finding the right talent. And so from that standpoint, I think it's important. Referrals are awesome. It's always great to get a referral from somebody. I think it adds a certain level of connection. Whether you're being referred to us or being referred to a company, having that personal touch is a pretty big point of it. So for us, we want to reward people that are, referring to us, and you can see submit your referral. We will pay you. There's some further information about it, but the bottom line is, if you give us somebody and we place that person within 180 days or 6 months, we will pay you up to $1,000 when we place them and get paid on it. So check it out. If you've got people, now don't send me everybody right? I appreciate that, but if you've got people that are out there that may be a fit for one of the jobs we have, would love to talk to them. If we can help them out in any way, we'd love to have that conversation. So Ciresi Morek referral program is up and running. And if you got any questions, please let us know. So that brings us to everybody's favorite time of the segment, and that is our resume reviews. So we have two to do today. One confidential, that's Mary. Hopefully you've joined us. And then Brandon from GE. So going to start with Mary. Mary, there's a lot of things that we could probably cover on your resume. Some things that we consistently talk about is some kind of summary at the front end. If you can, tell the reader quickly of, what your background is and what you're looking to do. Share that information. It's either an objective statement or a summary statement. And Mary, forgive me, but I have to I'm going to write a white paper one day. It seems that, I've done this a long time, and, I've talked to a lot of different functions. Mary is in HR, right? And so she's got a great HR background. But as I've seen in the past, salespeople have a struggle with selling themselves. Marketing people struggle with marketing themselves, and HR people sometimes struggle with resumes. So I completely understand it. I'm going to send you 2 example resumes that we have and that we've had a lot of success with that we typically send to people. So, hey, Brandon is here. Great. We're going to get into yours here in a second. But Mary, for you, I would really recommend, there's a couple of confusing points on here. You're doing personal consulting, and then it overlaps with another specific business. I think I would combine those two. If that's, if you were consulting for the specific company, I would probably put that underneath your personal consulting side of things. And then I think it's always important, we use a pretty basic structure. Like, I don't care what your font is or size is, but I think it's important to tell me what your company is, who, the 5 W's, right? And the H, who, what, when, where, how. What do they do? Is it a publicly traded company? Is it private, right? And then what exactly you guys manufacture or do. Then tell me what your role is, right? Explain to me what your responsibilities are in that specific position. And then from there, underneath that, bullet out what your accomplishments are, right? Like, what did you do? Quantitative, qualitative metrics. I think if you took that format, that you could easily get this, I think you would add a lot of content to it. Because here's the thing, you start off right off with your work history. And again, I think you need to kind of, frame up what it is you do, what you're looking to do, what your skill sets are, what your kind of core values are right at the beginning, frame that up, and then go into your work history. Talk through that. Again, tell me what your company does, tell me what your responsibilities are, and then bullet out what you've accomplished in each of those roles. And then from there, talk about your education and certifications, right? I think that would put better structure around and help the reader understand what you do. And like I said, we'll email you a couple of example resumes. If you want to look at those and you have questions about them, happy to get on a quick call with you and answer any further questions that you have. Okay? So, and then Brandon, I got the thumbs up. So with regards to your background, I think you do a lot of things that we typically recommend you do. I like the fact right out of the gates, you talk about being a commercial leader, right? So that frames up. I see a lot of times. We just had the discussion yesterday in the office where we had a plant manager candidate we were referring for a plant manager role, but at the top of his resume said vice president of operations, right? So I like the commercial leader aspect because it opens up a lot of responsibility for you and gives you, some flexibility there, which if you just said, hey, VP of sales or director of marketing or director of strategy kind of confines you a little bit. I hope that makes sense. So I think your summary statement's great. The things I would suggest that you do, listen, everybody knows who G is, right? They don't. I know that sounds nuts, but just give me a line or two of exactly what GE is, who they are, and more specifically, your GE Aviation, right? So tell me what GE Aviation specifically does, okay? And then from there, I think you do a great job of defining your position with them, which is great. And then the only thing I would suggest you do, your bullets are kind of long, and some of them could almost be construed as a responsibility. So, I think you got great metrics in there. The numbers in there are awesome, especially for the current position that you're in. Again, and then just carry that throughout. So, tell me who the company is, right? GE, tell me the division. What do you do, right? Huge publicly traded company. How many ever billions dollar global sales? GE aviation is the engine manufacturing arm of it. The one thing I did look at is your first bullet underneath your SOL role from 12 to 15. Quantitative, qualitative metrics. I think you're consistent throughout with numbers and facts, right? GE measures a lot, and so you do a great job of capturing that. On the first bullet, I would suggest you maybe look at that and rewrite it a little bit. I'll jump on a call with you. I don't mind to have that conversation. The other thing is consistent with what I said about GE, your internship. Tell me who your company is. Again, I know it's a big company, it's a brand name company, but just define it a little bit. Large publicly traded, how many million in sales, and go from there. And then same thing with GD. Not everybody knows who they are. That's a huge company. And again, not everybody knows who they are or what they do specifically because they have different divisions. It just helps your reader kind of capture what your scope and responsibility is and kind of the impact you've had. So overall, really good resume. A couple of things I would recommend you tweak. The other thing that you did that we always recommend now is you've just got your city state on there instead of having like a physical street address and house number. You've got your LinkedIn, which is great. Again, we always recommend your name, your email, phone number, city, state where you're at, and then your LinkedIn link. So people can find you because a lot of people are using LinkedIn today. So and the other thing you do well, and I've had this happen before, and I always kind of chuckle. You've been with GE since 2008, right? So you capture that you've been there for the last, how many years. I've had people not put that in there across the header, and then people will actually look at their resume and see that you've moved every 2 years, right? 2 to 3 years you've been promoted, and then they've actually ding you saying, "Oh, the guy jumps around too much." So just make it easy for the reader to understand who you are and what you've done throughout. So, guys, we're coming up on the witching hour here, but I wanted to answer any questions that anybody had. Brandon, I hope that helps. Mary, I hope that helps. I hope you're out there. So is there anything that we haven't discussed or any questions that you folks have that we can answer about interviews, about the jobs, about the market, anything we discussed? Going once. Right. No, happy to help, Brandon. Happy to help. Again, resumes are one of those things that it's a very small part, but important part of the hiring process. And you want to be as clear and concise as you can. for folks that when they're reading your background, they understand who you are, the impact you're making, and how you can help them kind of figure out what's going on and get better at it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me at mmorick@ceresiandmorick.com. Ceresiandmorick.com is the website. A lot of great information there. We are on LinkedIn. We have a YouTube channel. We've got a bunch of other videos that we've produced in the past that I think have some great information. And then on the website is a bunch of blogs and further information. So last thing I'm going to ask everybody, if you have, so last week we did an interview of a classmate of mine from West Point, great guy, served his country for 20 some years, but he works at Roush right now, and he's helped implement 2 veteran hiring programs. I thought it was a great interview, had some great information. We got a lot of positive feedback about it. If you have anybody that you want us to interview, please let us know. We're looking for folks to have kind of a back and forth with on the YouTube channel. So
Zoom meeting.
Zoom meeting. I know, but we do it on YouTube. So if you have any information, or is there anybody out there, or like even titles, right? So something that we're going back and forth with is, would it make sense to talk to like a vice president of operations of a Fortune 100 company? Or is there more value for you to talk to like an internal talent acquisition person who kind of does the first screen of resumes, right? We've got a phenomenal network. We have an amazing group of folks that are willing to help us help you. We just need to hear from you. So if there's any information out there you guys are looking for, please let us know. We'd love to share. And we look forward to the next one coming up first Wednesday of November. So thanks again for joining us, and we will see you soon.